Hello, true believers. Time to do another Police Gone Wild video. This showed up on my YouTube recommendations last week, and I just wanted to take the time now. I have other videos I wanted to do uh, regarding culture here in the Philippines, and especially police culture, since I have a lot of experience with them. One of the videos I wanted to do was how much is life worth in the Philippines. And the other one that I've been wanting to do for a long time is how prisoners get punished in the Philippines. And this kind of came up when those four prisoners escaped the prison here in the Philippines, the Muntinlupa prison over here, and then what the police did in retaliation. And I have a lot of insight and experience and information when it comes to culture, especially culture here in the Philippines. Of course, there's a lot of foreigners, a lot of howlies, a lot of whiteys. They're gonna tell you that they're experts about Filipino culture and they write a book to sell you. So that's pretty much it. So they can make money, illegally make money anyway. But this one came up, and these videos about the police committing crimes in the Philippines. It's not an isolated incident. Of course, they'll tell you and they'll lie to you. Police lying, it's a normal thing for them. It's like breathing, that it's not an isolated incident. So this came up, and let's go to the news article, and I'll give you my comments and thoughts and analysis of the situation.
Yes, ay patawan ng mabigat sa parusa na dismissal from the service yung mga pulis sa Agusan del Sur na ng hold up sa isang pastor.
So this is the Internal Affairs Service. They're recommending the dismissal and heavy penalties for the police in Agusan del Sur that held up and carnapped this one pastor at his chapel. And it says here he was allegedly buying, it says here he was buying agar wood. That's what the priest or the pastor or the church leader was being accused of. Let's go to the rest of the news story.
Na allegedly namimili ng agar wood. Kinuha po yung kanyang, pati yung kanyang Ford Ranger Raptor, pati yung mga cellphone ng kanyang mga kasamahan. Pangyayari ngayon sa loob ngayon.
So the police stole his Ford Ranger, just like when the police stole my car for their own personal use. And they also stole the cell phones, including my cell phone. So I have experience in this one. And the people that were also living or staying or that was with him in the church or in the chapel, inside the chapel.
Sa loob ng chapel.
Naisumiti na ng Philippine National Police Internal Affairs Service sa opisina ni Police Regional Office 13, Police Brigadier General Romeo Karamat Jr. ang kanilang rekomendasyon para
So the Internal Affairs Office submitted their recommendations to the regional police chief here.
alin sa serbisyo ang 7 pulis na sangkot sa pagnanakaw at carnapping noong January.
So they're recommending that the 7 police involved in this case be removed from their jobs for stealing and carnapping.
14 sa Agusan del Sur. Ang mga pulis ay kinala ang kanilang rekomendasyon para tanggalin sa serbisyo ang 7 pulis na sangkot sa pagnanakaw at carnapping noong January 14 sa Agusan del Sur.
So this happened January 14th, so just a few months ago. So back in January.
Ang mga pulis ay kinalalang sina Police Lieutenant Colonel Jared
So here's the 7 police that are involved. A lieutenant colonel, a staff sergeant, a major sergeant, staff sergeants, and patrolmen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Now this doesn't just involve one person. This doesn't involve just 2 people. This doesn't involve 3 policemen. This doesn't involve 4 policemen. doesn't involve just 5 policemen, doesn't involve 6, but 7. And they're all different ranks, as you can see, higher ranks. But what does this say? This says that this is not a systemic, this is not an isolated incident. This is a systemic gets. And of course, people from Western backgrounds will think this is wrong, or this is illegal, or this is criminal. Over here, this is the culture. This is the culture here in the Philippines, when you've got people in this culture of impunity, where they can just take things and steal things and just accuse you of any crime, so that they could be part of the haves and take, so the have-nots will take from the haves. So this is systemic. This is part of the culture. This is a normal thing here in the Philippines. Police, lieutenant colonels, carnapping, stealing, raping, murdering. It's called Tuesday. So let's go to the rest of the article. So this is a whole platoon over here. So it's how can you say with a straight face that this is an isolated incident when this is so many people involved and so many ranks involved? So many different ranks involved. These aren't just grunts being told what to do. These are high level chain of command people. So let's go to the rest of the story.
Charles Joaquin, ang hepe ng Agusan del Sur Police Intelligence Unit. Police Senior Master Sergeant Ronald, ang mga pulis ay kinalalang sina Police Lieutenant Colonel Jared Charles Joaquin, ang hepe ng Agusan del Sur Police Intelligence Unit.
So the chief of the police intelligence unit is in charge of carnapping and stealing. So let's continue.
Police Senior Master Sergeant Ronald Laro.
So Police Senior Master Sergeant. Okay.
Police Staff Sergeant Daryl John Mozo. Police Staff Sergeant Richard Ayala. Police Staff Sergeant Lolito Valdez. Patrolman Ivan Klein Osorio. At Patrolman Sebastian Batausa. Ayon kay ES Inspector General Attorney Alfigard Triambulo, guilty sa kasong grave misconduct ang mga nasabing pulis dahil napatunayang.
So here's the lawyer saying that they're guilty of grave misconduct. So they're criminals. So this is not. So he looked at the evidence. This is not innuendos. This is not suspicion. He gathered all the facts. He gathered all the evidence, and said guilty without a reasonable doubt that the police here, look at that, again, are the criminals here, are the organized crime. And in their defense, organized crime is everywhere. Of course, naturally, who's going to be performing these organized crime? It's a part of the ecosystem, especially when you have a poor country, third world country like the Philippines. You're going to have organized crime. And who better to be the perpetrators or the leaders or the propagators of this organized crime but the Philippine police themselves, as you can see in the situation.
Legal ang operasyon ng mga ito laban kay Jasper Pabilik na isang negosyante.
Kasi ang kanilang paratang ay sila daw nag-authorization ng ilang regular operation ng anti-illegal drugs at natansakan lang daw nila ito.
So they were saying, so the police are saying, well, we were on another operation. We were operating under anti-illegal drugs. And all of a sudden, this was just a chance encounter. This was just a impulse, just spur of the moment, stealing and carnapping. So we were doing our regular job of anti-drug trafficking, but we just happened, it says there, we happened to chance upon inside the church. It's like, holy cow, there's agar here in this church, is what they're saying.
May nagbibintahan sa loob ng chapel ng
So they're saying, well, while they were doing their anti-illegal drug operations, lo and behold, there was agarwood transactions being done in this chapel, is what they were saying.
Yung kanilang allegedly operation is undocumented.
The problem, they're saying, well, Yes, but your operation, whatever it is, anti-illegal drugs or anti-illegal anything, it's not documented. Nobody knows what the hell you're doing, why you were what you were doing in that church. No, but there's no documentation that you were performing any kind of operation at all. You were just there to steal and carnap.
Sa halip nakasuhan si Pabilik dahil sa pamimili ng ipinagbabawal na agar woods, kinuha lamang ng mga pulis ang pera nito na nagkakahalaga ng halos.
So they said because he was in the illegal transaction of agar wood, they stole his cash. And let's continue.
3 milyong piso.
So they said that they took his cash of 3 million pesos or $60,000. So let's continue, which is a big chunk of change. It's not it's higher than the amount of money that the police stole from my credit cards and my crypto account. But let's continue.
Ford Raptor na sasakyan, cellular
Yeah, they hit the jackpot over here because they've got vehicles just like my vehicle also, even though my vehicle is not as expensive as this one. But still, it's expensive to me, so that's my vehicle is stolen. So that's, well, in their defense, how else are the police going to have vehicles? Is naturally they have to steal it like they're doing here. So imagine how many cars they've stolen. Well, I have personal experience. They stole mine. They're using mine. Imagine what kind of condition that my car is going to be into. It's going to be beat up. It's going to have thousands of miles on it. Is it illegal for them to use it in carnap? Absolutely, just like this one.
at nakumpiskang agar woods. Agar woods, kinuha lamang ng mga pulis ang pera nito na nagkakahalaga ng halos 3 milyong piso. Ford Raptor na sasakyan, cellular phones at nakumpiskang agar woods.
So they're saying that they're also confiscated agar wood. Now, this would have to go to court, and we would have to verify, if this is agar wood or just charcoal briquettes, because the police are also known for planting evidence, just like they did with that one rapper. I forgot, Moody. They planted drugs on him. Well, how easy is it to plant? Okay, here's some charcoal and put some perfume on it, and it's like, voila! All of a sudden, you've got agar. And besides, the point over here is that also the problem with the whole operation is it's undocumented. You can't just enter a chapel. I mean, you have what's called your right to privacy, your right to your castle. Even here in the Philippines, they have laws that you can't just enter somebody's home without any cause. You have to have proper documentation. Even in my situation, they did the full-on search, and then they had a search warrant on my house, and that was just all based on suspicion in the window. We went through a whole long trial saying that the judge says, okay, this is all the evidence you gathered, and he's saying I am granting the demurrer because there is no evidence of anything that you're accusing him. I showed that to you in black and white. So I don't understand. So my point is saying, why didn't, if they are doing a operation, it's that easy. As you can see, you can get a search warrant based on nothing alone, based on my case. There's no evidence of anything illegal whatsoever in my house, but they still got a search warrant, and they couldn't get one here. So since there's no search warrant, anything they seized or any evidence, including agar wood, even if it isn't or it isn't, it'll have to come out in court. It has to be tested, or if it was planted or not, I don't know. The point is, that's all fruit from the poisonous tree because there was no proper search warrant to be able to. So all that evidence that was obtained during an illegal search or undocumented operation cannot be used in the court of law. Anyway, that's my understanding. Let me know in the comments if I'm correct or if you'd agree or disagree. You can't take evidence in somebody's chapel or house without a warrant. Anything without a warrant would be considered fruit from the poisonous tree. Therefore, cannot be used as evidence.
Mga alleged na ninakaw dito sa complainant ay nakuha sa kanyang posisyon at yung agar-agar ng sasakyan at saka yung ibang.
And also, we have to understand also where did the agar come from? I don't know exactly what the rules are. I mean, are you allowed to create your own agar? Couldn't you like if you have your own plantation, could you grow the tree? Could you produce? Could you grow agar yourself? And if you decide to keep it or sell it, I mean, is that considered illegal? So agar itself is not a illegal substance. It's not an alcoholic substance. I mean, it's not it's not drugs. It's not a banned substance. So I'm not sure but I think the point was that they were using that as an excuse just to be able to steal. So let's continue.
Pera na allegedly kinuha ng mga suspect.
Kung aaprubahan ni General Karamat ang rekomendasyon ng IAS, hindi na makukuha ng mga pulis ang kanilang mga benepisyo at
So that's the story. If the police general accepted the recommendations of the internal affairs attorney, then they would be removed from their jobs and they would not get any benefits at all from their previous years of service, and they would not be allowed to work for any government or public offices again, is what she's saying.
hindi na rin sila makapagtatrabaho pa sa lahat ng opisina ng gobyerno. Leia Ilagan, UNT.
Thank you, Leia. So that's the report. And like I said, that will be your biggest problem, one of your biggest problems here in the Philippines, especially if you live here long enough. You're going to be running into situations, it's going to get worse and worse, where if you have something like a car, it doesn't even have to be an expensive car. I mean, even my modem, when I was in the search warrant, maybe my theory why they wanted to use the modem was because they thought that they could use it and get like free internet. So I don't know. But the point is that the police here will steal because they can, and that's something you have to be concerned about when you're talking about the Philippines and the Philippine culture and who is exactly behind organized crime here in the Philippines. So here's another news article confirming that reality here in the Philippines, and knowing is half the battle. So I'll see you guys in the next vlog. So that's another Police Gone Wild video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next vlog. This is Bewa Told Me.